Hey, you there. Thanks for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 6v6 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the northwest, ending with Team 2 in the southeast. Starting off with Team 1's northern player, and then working our way southward, and then jumping northward, we have in Pac-Man Yellow, way she goes. He is a Cybern for this match as a 1600. To their south, we have in Light Oak 10 Momo Uchiha. He is a Seraphim. He is a 1400. In Rust, next door to him, we have Touch My Berries as a UEF, as again a 1600. And in Stitch Blue to the south, we have Will-O-Wisp. He is a UEF for this match. He is a 2000 rated player. He is the highest rated player on his team. He's also tied for the highest rated player overall. To his north, we have in Batman Gray, the UEF commander of Solid Snake. He is a 1500. And last but not least, for Team 1 in Glow in the Dark Green in the northwest corner of the map, we have Sizolan as a UEF. He is a 1500. So for Team 1 side of the map here, we have 4 UEF, 1 Cybern, 1 Seraphim. Team 1 lacks Aeon technology. Starting off with Team 2's northern player, and then working our way southward and then east, we have in Tropical Ocean Blue Fur as an Aeon. He is a 1700. He also is the one and only Aeon of the match. To his southwest in Emerald Green is Skyfall 703. He is a UEF. He is a 1300. In orange color, orange shade to his southwest, we have Smithers as a Seraphim for this match as a 1700. And in Imperial Gray to his southwest, as a UEF is Yoji. He is a 2000 rated player, the highest rated player on his team of Team 2, and he is tied with Will-O-Wisp for the highest rated player overall at, again, a 2000 rating. And in Chevy Crimson to his east, we have Chancellor. He is a Cybern for this match as a 1300. And last but not least, for Team 2 in the southeastern corner of the map here, most likely the air player, at least one of them, is Mad Cat as a UEF in Forest Green, the best color and faction combination in all of Supreme Commanderdom. He is a 1700. And for Team 2 side of the map, they have 3 UEF, but they also have one of each of the factions. So again, that one and only Aeon player in the game, a Seraphim and a Cybern. And of course, Team 1 lacks the Aeon faction on their side of the map. And for 12 players on the map, let's take a look at the most reclaim. They have 2 scoop up, currently sitting at only not even 5,000 mass. That's about 400 or so mass per player. I mean, it's something. It's not really great, but it's something, I guess. We do see that the map does make up for it a little bit in the mass point divvying out across the map. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Trimex positions as another set of 2 Trimex positions, pretty much. I mean, they're close enough. I'll call them Trimex positions on the southwestern corner of the map. And in the middle, there's a nice little line of mexes that will definitely be fought over, especially in this tight environment that is these just shotgun shells splattering whatever nonsense of all of these little mountains. And with that out of the way, let's see where our players are starting to line up. It looks like it's going to be a 2v2 in the northeast. We do have, I think, a 1v1 directly down the middle, and it looks like it's shaping up to be a 2v2 possibly in the southwest with the rearguard air slot players, that being Mad Cat for Team 2 and Sizolan for Team 1, staying in their base for the time being. There are a decent amount of pawns that our players can hide in. Most likely it will be this northeastern corner one and then the 2 ones next to the air players that will be used the most to hide commanders, but I would not be surprised to see any sort of Billy Nukes. With this many UEF players in the match, there is being 7 of the 12, so more than half. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody try to hide launch Billy Nukes at the one team or the other. We do see a bomber inbound from Yoji trying to just harass Team 1's Will-O-Wisp, and does kill off a Max, but unfortunately for that little lab, he was destroyed. But again, he did claim a kill on a Max, which is better than nothing, but it just slows down Team 1 at a bare minimum, annoys Will-O-Wisp, and that's really about it. With that bomber still causing a little bit of harassment, taking out another Mex. He just finished building that one, and he's rebuilt this one, so let's see if he kills off the other one that was there, but it does look like the bomber was shot down, and the interceptor from Team 2 does shoot down the one that shot down his friend. In the northeast, it looks like way she goes, moving in on the, again, just right along this little pond, possibly trying to establish a nice little not a choke point, but nice little fire base in this choke point. Looks like actually no, going to hide in the water for a little bit. Looks like he's going to go for a gun speed and range upgrade on board that commander. I think that's one of the first. Fur starts a speed upgrade, and Team 2 Smithers starts a gun upgrade as well. And again, it is shaping up to be a 1v1. The, of course, downside with this middle engagement is, there is a decent amount of, kind of land in between each of, most of these mountain peaks, whatever, solo mountain mounts, I guess would be a better way to put it. I think. I don't know the correct terminology for that. It's going to make it a little bit difficult to really have anything big going down the middle. Yeah, you can fit a chicken or two, but when you start getting into here, or even here, it starts getting a little bit tight. We are seeing a lot of units, again, just kind of running back and forth in the middle here for both of these teams. Team 1, T2, T3 units, no issue. It's only going to be those T4, those big, beefy units that are really going to have some struggles there. We do see the gun opposite of Smithers being upgraded as we speak. Smithers, speaking which, has finished his gun, and Will-O-Wisp has finished his, or started his as well. And we do see a couple of units do break through the front lines here for Team 2, getting into the main base of Fur, but he deals with that quite quickly with a couple of lab spam. And it looks like it's starting to quiet down at least a little bit on this eastern front. Both these players, at least on the edges, are just worried about their ecos and getting more units on the field, not necessarily trying to press the attack one way or the other. The one who is pressing the attack so far here is Team 2. Smithers going up against Touch My Berries' position. That upgrade will finish before Smithers does come into range. And all this will maybe put Touch My Berries on the defense and push him back a tiny bit. But again, once that gun upgrade is done, Touch My Berries has a bit of an HP advantage, only about 500, but 500 could be the difference between surviving a comm explosion and not. So any advantage is better than nothing. We do see in the south, Team 2's Cyber player of Chancellor going for a stealth upgrade. Has he finished his gun? Yes, he has. Will-O-Wisp has finished his gun, but with the, of course, gun upgrade here for Chancellor, it's going to put both of these players at even footing. And now with the stealth upgrade, Will-O-Wisp can't see him unless he gets visual confirmation or gets an Omni online to be able to see that commander. So, of course, he has to be wary of that. We do see that in the middle, Team 1, Touch My Berries getting overwhelmed by forces inbound from Skyfall. And there he goes, gets overwhelmed in that 2v1 engagement. The commander of Skyfall didn't move in, but his units did, seizing the opportunity. And that is now a 6v5 in favor of the southern team of Team 2. No one made it past, not no one, but everybody except one player, at least as of right now, has almost made it past 10 minutes. And it's not super rare we see a death this early, but it is pretty common. I mean, with 12 players, it's going to happen at some point. The chance that it doesn't happen before 20 is really high, is really low that it doesn't happen, but again, it's going to happen. We do see that way she goes pushing against Fur Aeon versus Cybran. Cybran, of course, has the gun upgrade all balled up into one, and Fur does have each upgrade on board, so it does have speed and the range upgrades. He does have some PD that will try to throw Way She Goes back. Way She Goes, of course, has less hit points than the Aeon Commander, sitting at, well, currently it's 2100, but of course the base hit points is a 1000 point advantage. Gun has been started here for as well. Going for the advanced range, going to be able to outrange their opponent. The only one to be able to do that in the game, because he is the one and only Aeon of this game. We do see a large group of forces inbound from Way She Goes. Looks like he's going to be able to, he or she, again, Way She Goes, it sounds like it's a she, it's possibly a he. I don't know. The percentage of males that play this game is really high. I don't want to assume anything, of course, but I'll probably just call her she, just because Way She Goes, I would assume. But again, I'm not trying to assume in any stretch of the imagination. We do see that T2 coming online here for Momo. Going to be able to establish probably a nice little T2 naval facility here if they can secure it. Getting some flak, getting some destroyers. Going to be able to do very well against T1 forces, especially with the laser cannons on board those destroyers. And they can hide underneath the surface of the water as well. We do see units coming in to plug this gap here inbound from Momo. Looks like he got the base that his teammate of Touch My Berries had initially, so having dual base will be able to stave off this attack, or at least this holding for Smithers. He's going for T2 as we speak, where we do see a lot of T2 units emerging here, going to be able to slowly outrange those primarily Team 1 forces. There are some of the Yenzian online. I don't see any Ilshis as of yet, but T2 is better than T1, and that is, again, better than nothing. And still, Team 2 gains tons of momentum here on this eastern side, pushing back, or at least forcing back Way She Goes, and now getting into the frontline facilities for Momo. Momo actually is moving in to just push Smithers out, has a lot of Mongoose online, but also has a decent amount of Seraphim units as well. Of course, loving the mix of technologies there. Lots of Zooey here from Momo. Going to be very difficult to deal with these very mobile strikers. There is the occasional, looks like Rhino coming in to assist from his teammate. They are trying to plug this gap. Team 2 trying to get as much distance into Team 1's position as possible, but looks like they're coming up on a very tough engagement, and they will be wiped out in that regard. In the southern side, Team 2 gaining a little bit of ground, not only in the southwestern section, but now down this kind of western middle, again, tight environment. We see a lot of Titans, very fast units, have a personal shield on board. They output a lot of shots. Not really necessarily good for, individual shots, but, again, it's either you do 1 damage 1,000 times or 1,000 damage 1 time is really the kind of, again, trade-off between damage versus fire rate. You want to have both as much as possible, but you can't always have your cake and eat it too, as much as I would like that and everybody else would like that. That's just not how it goes. There's got to be a disadvantage to pretty much every unit. I think the only thing I can't think of is the Paragon. Oh, I guess the Paragon costs a lot, and all the other game rangers cost a lot. So there is a disadvantage and advantage to everything in this game. There's the rock, paper, scissors, wizard, whatever the quote is from Big Bang Theory. I haven't really watched that much of that show. I've seen clips and maybe most of a full episode, but I haven't just sat down and watched it like I have Friends or How I Met Your Mother. Those shows I really enjoyed. But anyway, getting sidetracked with shows I watched growing up and still kind of watch from time to time. We do see a decent amount, again, Titans breaking through this little hole that Team 1 has either just let fester or has now come under fire. We do see a lot of gunships, T2 and T3, replying to this threat. Of course, we have the Stingers, very spammable, and of course these broadswords, the bigger, tougher brother of the Stinger, do lots of damage. My favorite gunship in the game. I have a lot of favorite UEF units, if you haven't already told, just by the fact that I say the Percy's the best T3 unit, in my opinion, in terms of main line units. Chancellor leading his forces on the front line, shoving everything forward, primarily T1, but I do see some flak cannons in the mix as well, protecting against a gunship threat that is starting to mount here for Team 1. It is looking like it is 2 air players for Team 1. Team 2 does have T3 air, but I only see the 1 facility, so it is an advantage for Team 1 in that regard. And not much else. A lot of T3 facilities either being built or being already built or going to be upgraded here shortly. And look at this, Smithers completely pushed back all these forces that were building here for Skyfall to probably assist Furfur's push, have to be diverted westward to deal with this. And again, land and air coming into play both very well here for Team 1. The distraction from the gunships allowing the land units to get further and further in. And again, all of these units that are not over here does give Team 1 a little bit more time to build up defenses on this eastern side, or at least slow down the approach of Team 2 at a minimum. T2 coming online here for Solid Snake. Again, UEF very tanky with the fire basing nonsense, especially with the Ravager T3 PD. But look at this pressure from Team 2's Chancellor, just constantly, just ever so slightly, ever so steadily, just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Again, Will-O-Wisp is over here trying to do his best, but he's just not. I mean, he's going for the T3 unit. So it looks like he kind of skipped the T2 phase, which does put him at a slight disadvantage for the kind of out of the early game into the mid game kind of phase. But again, once those T3 units are in range, a lot of those T1 units are not going to exist for very long, especially with the rapid fire nature of those Titans. We do see, of course, a parashield or two in the mix, going to help keep those units alive even longer. We do see some Percy's down the middle for Yoji. And again, go after the same hole that still exists, but Solid Snake is trying to plug it himself, and then soon to be his, of course, shields and PD. Those triads, very, very good PD. I would say, again, the Utashala, in my opinion, is the best T2 PD in the game, but of course that is my opinion. Of course, Willowbis on the front line, as I said, leading his troops in this charge against all of these T1 units. And yeah, there's a decent amount of artillery, there's a decent amount of Mantis, but look at the numbers. They're completely just collapsing due to the higher tech, higher HP, higher fire rate units. Couple of Janus over the top here, just baking these Percys, not Titans, in holy fire. Unfortunately for those Janus, there is a decent amount of AA coverage and parashields that they have to eat through as well. A couple of Percys now in range of Solid Snake's commander. Solid Snake has to retreat here. 2 shots that triad, and that's a T1 mech upgrading to T2. Solid Snake takes another shot in the back. We do see a couple of Othams inbound from Smithers to again assist with this push down the middle. And this will put Team 1 again at a huge disadvantage, having not another hole, but I guess the same hole to plug. But I guess a benefit for Team 1 is they've now re-secured the position that Touch My Berries died at. And that naval facility is now online for Momo, upgrading to T2. Yes, he is going for the cruiser spam. I love to see it from the Seraphim and the UEF factions with those cruiser missile nonsense. We do see the comm of Solid Snake. Gets out of there just barely with a transport. Very, very risky. That transport coming in, picking up the commander. But had he not done that, he would have died. And that would have dropped this game to a 6v4. But it is still a 6v5. Unfortunately now, with the departure of Solid Snake, it does allow these Percys and a couple of Titans from Yoji to push in and go after the frontline facilities here for Will-O-Wisp, and he is now forced to send pretty much everything he has back, leaving his comm exposed. His comm is going to retreat as well. Team 2 going to seize the advantage with those troops retreating and going to regain the territory that they just tried to take, but then got forced out, and then going to try to take, again, a constant back and forth in that southeastern corner. Northeastern corner, kind of just more of a arms race here in the northeast, just building up units, maybe a couple of shield emplacement somewhere, maybe just a couple of T3 units shortly, but nothing really just, kind of butting heads in that northeastern corner. Pings possibly from Team 2, noting the fact that Momo Uchiha does have that T2 headquarters online going. I'm assuming that is it has to be it could be the destroyer. It looks like they're the laser weapons on the... Oh, those also look like flak cannons. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. We will see it shortly. The Seraphim units are very hard to tell, at least for me, in terms of just the little icon in the bottom left-hand corner. It looks like the cruiser, but it also could be the destroyer. At least with the UEF, I can actually look at the unit and be like, oh yeah, that's the cruiser because it has the bay in the back, and the destroyer does not. The cruiser for the Cyberns look very different. The Aeons, it's a little bit harder to tell, but it's not as bad as the Seraphim, in my opinion. We do see, again, Titans and those Percys and more parashields coming into play here for Yoji, constantly just shoving these units forward, constantly putting Team 1 under fire and keeping them defensive, allowing a lot of course, teching up in terms of T3, from T2 to T3 mexes, getting RASCOMs if they go for that, going mass fabs, keeping the fight on Team 2's territory. The only downside with this, of course, is that obviously the travel time it takes to get to the front line, Team 1 can defend a lot quicker because the facilities are right there versus all the way back there. And the fact that it puts more mass on Team 1's side of the map versus Team 2's. And we have seen matches where the aggressor is the one that loses, and sometimes the person who defends is the loser. It just depends on just how the game plays out, which is one of my favorite things of this game, is that, you know, some plays work and some don't. We do see that the naval headquarters was destroyed by those Othams. Of course, they have torpedoes on board like the Cybrin bricks, and they are now causing a menace. All of these forces being essentially body blocked by the pawn, and Team 2 Smithers using his faction advantage with his units being able to submerge underneath the surface or hover. So he can move all of these units in tandem with one another. Yenzine, Othams, and of course the Zui. We do see, of course, the Mongeese can't get on the water. We do see the Zui can. But in terms of direct fire weaponry, Team 2 has a huge advantage both in the underwater and over the surface, above the surface weaponry. And in the west, Chancellor is still pushing on this western side. T2 Mex is going down. And at 22.5 minutes, Team 1 has only lost one player, that being Touch My Berries. Team 2 has lost nobody. So it is a 6v5 in favor of Team 2, the southern team. Team 2 barely ahead in the mass game, 1.3k versus 1.2. So Team 1 keeping in lockstep with Team 2. Team 2's leaders in mass being Yoji at 300 and Mad Cat almost at 300. We do see that in the north. There's an explosion. Team 2's Chancellor defeated by those gunships. As I was talking about, just the kind of state of affairs so far, it drops this game now to a 5v5. And as I was saying, Team 1's leaders in mass being Will-O-Wisp and Sai-Zalin in the north. And at this point in the game, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to this point in the video. And of course, as always, continue to watch till the end because, you've already watched pretty much halfway through. You might as well watch to the end, see how the game turns out. And, of course, thank you so very much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And if you did enjoy this cast in particular, or just any of them, why not? Just share this with anyone, everyone, and, of course, most importantly, your pets. We do see in the south, air fight does break out. Team 2's Mad Cat has the advantage in the fight and will now gain a decent amount of air control, at least in this sector. We do see in the north, Sai-Zalin has his own air forces, so it looks like Team 2's Mad Cat going to pressure. He's going to be able to get a couple of... actually doesn't go after it, but I was going to say he's going to get a couple of more gunships killed. Unfortunately here for Yoji's pursuits on the land side of things, Team 1 has really dug their heels in, and it's just becoming just money pit of all this mass. I should say mass pit of all of these units just dying. Yeah, the defenses are going down, but the mass is on Team 1's side of the map. They can easily just rebuild the defenses, easily reclaim the mass, fund more units, that sort of thing. We do see that Yoji does have 2 bases now and is the mass leader for his team at 470, almost 500, producing 1.5 times almost the mass than anybody else on Team 1's side of the map. So it will give him a lot of power, a lot of weight to throw around. Tactical missile is done, starting tactical nuke. Team 1's Will-O-Wisp on the front lines, going for the Billy Nuke and the FAF point at the same time. And again, he's under constant pressure from Yoji, which again forces him to be more defensive, and it will provide very, very big gains once that tactical Billy Nuke is done, because that is going to be a big target. And if these units don't move and get out of there, they are DED. We do see the units actually falling back to group up with Smithers' forces, or at least kind of plug this little hole right here in the east. Again, there is a little bit of edging on the eastern side of the map here for Team 1's Way She Goes, trying to go and circumvent Team 2's mainline defenses. The only downside of this, of course, is the longer that kind of hook around, the more time it gives the defender time to respond to the threat. We do see that the naval facility is now rebuilt and the cruiser is online. So I guess it was the Seraphim. It is the Seraphim, but it is the cruiser. I guess I have to look for that little nub at the back where the missile actually launches from. Is probably how I'm going to detect or determine which unit is which. We do see that Shield Heavy has been started for Furfur. He does have the advanced range on board. So Aeon Sniper Commander is done, going for very, very tanky Commander as well. Will come through water, says Smithers. Possibly talking about Team 1's forces. We do see that the Autumn's coming in to shadow the chicken that is now built by Momo. And yes, Team 2, who was that? That was Smithers, is correct on that. That chicken will go through the water. We see this is a horde of mongoose. I think it's the biggest horde of mongoose I have ever seen ever in casting 400. At least just solid mongoose. I've seen a lot of mongoose, but not just a mongoose army. That's a lot of mongoose, and they are not mongooses. They are not mongai. They are mongoose. I played Halo. I had Halo 1 all the way till Halo Infinite. I played all of them. My favorite is a mix between Reach and 3. 2 has a really good campaign. Some of the missions are kind of just short and sweet, but I mean, the mongoose, obviously there's the whole debate about, is it a mongoose, is it a mongai, is it mongooses? I say mongoose, just makes more sense in my brain. Because if you see multiple goose, they would be geese, so mongoose. Anyway, that's how I determine that, at least for myself. I don't know if there's like a actual, there probably is a language thing, but anyway, as everybody knows, I'm not really good with my language skills anyways. So what does it matter? Fatboy is online, and with the assistance of these Othams inbound from Smithers, this chicken has now retreated. There's a lot of Othams online for Smithers, currently sitting at 31. And I'm assuming that is going to be the target here. Multiple cruisers online. They don't have torp defense, which means those Othams are at full advantage. Chicken now moving into the east, trying to catch that mongoose. That Fatboy unaware. The chicken about to come into range. That Fatboy has to move. Shots about to land on top of it. We do see some cruiser fire inbound. Those missiles raining in on the shield. That chicken looks like it's going to just go back in the water from whence it came. Back in the dark black lagoon? Is it blue lagoon? Black lagoon? Whatever the lagoon color is. Whatever. It just goes back in the lagoon. Nuke is being pointed out here by Sai. And it is online. Not loaded. It is online for Mad Cat in the rear. I don't see any big ticket items here for Team... Oh, sorry. There is a secondary nuke online. Just finished for Team 2's Yoji. I've seen a lot of nukes lately, even in videos that I'm kind of, making sure that the cast, the replay works and all that. A lot of nukes. Not really necessarily YOLOs, just regular T3 strategic launcher missile nukes. Very, very interesting. I don't know if, like, there was an update that changed maybe the cost of the nuke or something. I don't know all the details, but I do know that I've just seen a lot of them recently. A lot more than I have in previous, however many casts. I think it's like 420 or 421 or something at this point. You see the chicken is going to be able to shoot a little bit from the water, kind of like we've seen in a couple of games previously where the chicken just sits in the water and shoots, or Colossi shoot in the water, those taller experimentals. Large group of ASS moving to the west. Looks like they're going to shadow something. No, there's not really anything that they're shadowing, or anything shadowing them. We just see all of the ASS being drawn. Oh, that's why, because there's a couple of strat bombers down here, and Team 1 is having none of it. These ambassadors are going to be shot down before they can make their appearance before the UN or whatever body that they want to try to, be ambassadors for. But Team 2 is on the losing side of this engagement most handily. There is a couple of AA forces underneath. Not a lot to make a huge difference. We do see that Solid Snake will probably lose most of his air forces, but Sizolins will keep pretty much all of his. Fluid Nuke lands in the middle, going after this little group of units and structures. Fatboy also online. Large group of T3 units escorting that chicken is inbound. A couple of Rambos also online for Willow. We do see Team 1 has air dominance, and gunships ripped apart before they even have time to take off and flee. The cruisers just pumping out so many missiles. Chicken now back over here and now punch through the defenses here for Team 2's Skyfall. Now that the forces from Smithers have moved into the west, it's a nice little fade attack happening here. Team 2 moves in, Team 1 attacks. Team 1 moves in, Team 2 attacks, that sort of thing. You got to strike where your opponent is weak. And there is the chicken. It does drop into the red. There is that Fatboy still firing, and then a Colossus inbound. So this attack will get stalled for the time being for Team 1, but a lot of damage is done. Shields coming offline, engineering stations coming offline, T3 mech is about to go offline. In the middle, the attack is stopped, and still the cruisers pose a huge threat just because look at their range. This is where they're currently sitting, and if they sit probably right about here, they can get... maybe they can get as far as where the commanders of Smithers is, and maybe they could reach this base. No, I think that's barely out of range. They might be close to Skyfall's base. Close. I wouldn't say they're that close, but pretty much probably the same distance to Furfur's base in the east. Fatboy in the middle, just trying to be very annoying, using the little mounts here as cover. But there's a lot of T3 units to shoot through, and it looks like the chicken is going to engage. The Fatboy will have to retreat, but the damage will be done. That chicken can catch up to that Fatboy. It is producing more and more skyboxers. I'm assuming parashields. It's kind of on a rotating. Yep, there's the parashield being built. And that chicken about to be in range. Its main cannon about to land, of course, on the shield. Nuke outbound. Will-O-Wisp drew the forces in from Smithers, taking out a lot of tanks. That's a lot of T3 support and a couple of those, the T3 parashields. The name, one of the names that I probably will try to pronounce and then completely fail if I can find them, because they. Oh no, there's one right here. The Athana. Yeah, Athana. I would probably just say T3 mobile shield at that point. And this facility is really suffering. Momo's like, okay, fine, I'm done. But the nuke has now been launched by Team 2's Mad Cat. How's the nuke loading for Yoji? It is also loaded, and it is going for the main base of Team 1's Will-O-Wisp. It is possibly going to land. It looks like Furfur is defeated in the east by Saizawan's gunships inbound in the east, so Team 2 loses another player. It is now a 4v5 in favor of the northern team of Team 1. Nuke is inbound. The wall section proving very annoying to deal with. Willow is trying to retreat, but can't really do so because of the wall section. Nuke is going to land, and unfortunately the nuke from Team 2 will also go to the same spot, wanting to secure this destruction of this base. Kaboom! Kills off, I'd say, 50,000 mass. And there goes the comm of Will-O-Wisp. Looks like he was defeated by that chicken. So it is now, it's not necessarily a trade, but it is now a 4v4. And that nuke killed off 60,000. That wasn't super far off. This nuke is loading, decently quick. Not super quick, but enough to be able to pump out a couple of them per second in the east. Again, this eastern side just getting ripped apart. Again, kaboom. Nuke doesn't really do anything because there wasn't anything to destroy anyways, because it was already destroyed with the first nuke. But this base in the east, for what once belonged to Furfur, now under Skyfall's control, is gone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's no air force that Team 2 really has to respond to this, and they're currently busy in the middle dealing with this threat of more gunships. Team 1 might start winning this game just with gunships. Strap bombers inbound hit the west there from Team 2's Mad Cat going after... What were they? They're going after the SMD over here, it looks like, but they could have gone after Solid Snake. He was going for an artillery right there. Furfur goes like, what happened there? I don't even know. It looked like they were going for the SMD here, but looks like they were going for this one, which is decently shielded, I might add. Don't understand it, but they at least know that the artillery is being built by Team 1, so that's something, I guess. They're very expensive scouts, but... You know, intel is very, very important. Trying to win air, stop making useless stuff, says Furfur, talking to Mad Cat. So Furfur just trying to offer some assistance in that department. We do see, again, that nuke is still loading, about to reload once again. SMD is not there. SMD is there. SMD is also there. And SMD is here and is just barely loaded. So Team 2 has another nuke that they can launch pretty much anywhere except for, of course, in the north for Saizawan, covering a little bit of Solid Snake's base, but it can be edge nuked out and could actually kill him if it goes directly for that T3 air headquarters. You do see in the east just the cleansing of the eastern side here by Team 1, taking out everything that Team 2's now Skyfall owns. His base is gone. His FAF boy is gone. We do see a couple of SACUs trying to stave off this bleeding, but they're being sandwiched by Seraphim and Cybern forces. It's only a matter of time before it goes. That chicken, even though it might die, the damage is done. You could bring it back to base, control K, scoop up the mass. Smithers constantly running back and forth between the east and the west, and it's really just kind of pulled them in both directions and not able to really keep one side afloat. The western side a little bit stronger than the east, obviously due to the fact that most of the stuff is gone for Team 2 on this eastern side. It does give a lot of territory for Wei Shigos to really operate, not really worry about a lot of attacks. They'll see it coming a mile away, or in this case, like 10 kilometers away. Not 10. 6 kilometers. I'll say 6 kilometers away. It's really hard for me to judge as an American how far a kilometer is versus a mile. I kind of know how far a mile is, kind of thing. Like, you can kind of conceptualize it. And I know a kilometer is shorter than a mile. But it's just one of those things where I'm just not used to it. I didn't grow up with it. I didn't, you know, it's that whole essentially perspective and perception on things. Again, a couple of mechs being taken offline. Team 2's Eco staying a little bit ahead of Team 1, but that number keeps shifting. Looks like there was some power-related issues or just reclaim-related issues. There's that yellow line again that I haven't seen in a while. It looks like it's mostly... I don't know. I don't really know why that... It must be reclaim-related. That's the only thing that does make sense. In terms of reclaims total, we'll check that out very quickly. Team 1 sitting at 130, Team 2 at 100,000. So again, not really a huge advantage one way or the other. And the total mass does favor Team 2, so the reclaim not really adding that much to the picture. But again, a little bit is better than nothing. Gunships being escorted by these ASFs, but Team 2's Yoji has built a decent amount of AA en route on the southern edge. And really all these ASFs for Solid Snake are just buying time. I think the main goal is this artillery installation right here that is currently being built. There are no shields. There's one being built. There's AA spam on its way. Gunships looks like they're moving in possibly for the nuke. And even, oh, nope, they're shifting eastward going after T3 mexes. They are broadswords. They'll do a lot of damage very quickly, even if there's only a few of them. But there is some ASF response to Team 2's Mad Cat moving in to assist as well. Yoji also in the air game. Just has a T3 air facility to be able to pump out his own ASFs. We do see that Mad Cat's working on another nuke, about to finish that one. And I'm assuming Yoji has another one. Yes, he has two of them. Team 2 has 3 nukes and 1 artillery about to be finished. And nuke is launched immediately by Team 2's Mad Cat. Where is this one going? Looks like it's going to try to... Oh, no, that's an attack order from probably the artillery. So I don't know. Possibly Will-O-Wisp old base. Will-O-Wisp actually is gone. Oh, yeah, we know he's gone because he was killed off. Sorry, I got confused there with the players. Solid Snake, of course, took over what Will-O-Wisp has. And it is, as I said, a 4v4 game here. 37 minutes on the clock. There is a Fat Boy still running around down the south here for Solid Snake. This base is gone. The Fat Boy should... no, it's not. It's gone. There it goes. Kaboom! Kills off a Fat Boy. Kills off the one being built. Great nuke here by Team 2. Would have loved to see it go further into the base, but SMDs either have almost loaded or have loaded, and it would have been tight. We do see a backup SMD and possibly another SMD. Obviously SMD right there. We do see a nice attack inbound from Yoji going after whatever this position is. Just a couple of mass points, I guess. We do see that in the Middle East here. Chickens just annihilating other chickens. Ion Storms going off. Fat Boys assisting. Cruisers. The T3 Naval Headquarters is online because why the heck not? And cruisers are just going to be the main ticket item here for Momo Uchiha. Again, doing very well of just like, this is mine. I'm not going anywhere. This is mine. Take it from my cold dead hands kind of thing. And it has been taken multiple times, but in this instance, he still hasn't. We do see some units inbound from the north. They've used the waterways as a way to get around the defenses here for Team 2. The bricks of inbound taking out a secondary air grid here for Mad Cat. Looks like they're going... I don't know what they're going for, but there are some presets running around. So it's just RASCOMs. Just to be able to help defend. A little bit more firepower to bring to bear. Monkey is online. Ravagers are built. Nuke is launching immediately. And where is it going? It's going northbound. Looks like it's going for... Oh, no, it's going further into the air grid. And... No, that's the artillery. Never mind. It's sometimes hard to tell which line is what. But Team 1 has their own artillery online. There goes the air grid for Mad Cat. Mad Cat going to try to just run in the face of all of that monkey and gunship prowess. But it looks like, again, the gunship focusing on the nuke. Definitely the good thing to go for. The monkey focusing on kind of cutting a path straight through. And we do see the bricks going after some facilities here for Team 2's Yoji. But he does have a Fat Boy online. Again, protecting the nuke. He still has 2 nukes loaded. The P-Gens are the target. And the nuke does land. And that is a kaboom. That is a great nuke taking out the air grid for Solid Snake. But again, the air prowess here from Team 1. Smithers control Ks. And that looks like it's a legitimate control K, not a either a Paragon explosion or a P-Gen explosion that kills the comm. And it is now a 3v4 in favor of the northern team of Team 1. 1 artillery apiece, it looks like. There's one down here, the Disruptor. One up here, the Duke. I don't see anything else built besides, again, just the spam of cruisers in that little pond. And there is a second artillery started. It's going to take a while to get that online, but it is started, which is, again, better than nothing. There may be more, says Willow. Don't know what he is referring to. Nukes possibly is what he's getting at. But one nuke has been taken offline here for Team 2. Oh no, this nuke is gone. Team 1's Duke takes it out. You can see the shots landing right where that nuke was. And I think there was at least one, if not two, nukes also loaded in there. At least one at a minimum. Because we did see two at one point. But not really great for Yoji. We do see those bricks coming in again from this eastern edge going all the way around. We do see an army now. We're patrolling the eastern side here for Skyfall. In the middle, Fat Boy tried to make some forward momentum happen, but just kind of getting pushed back by Team 2's defenses. The gunship's still coming in from Team 1's. Both Sizon and Solid Snake, they're really pushing that gunship angle. Lots of bombers here for Mad Cat just to help. But Pigeon's been taken offline here for Yoji. He's suffering in the power production department. You can see he is still about 10 or so thousand plus, but every Pigeon does make a difference eventually. We do see air grid again being established, so every Pigeon he's losing, he's just again gaining back. Brick still just staying alive, causing havoc, taking out T3 mexes. Team 1 sitting at 1.6k mass per second. Team 2 at 1.1k, dropping almost below 1,000 mass per second. That's due to just these bricks coming in, taking out all of the mass extractors, taking out the Pigeons, really causing a lot of havoc. Looks like artillery starting to trade blows here between the one in the north and the one in the south. This artillery really wide. Will it land on that mass fab little position surrounding those? Yes, it will. Almost takes out the T3 mechs, but it barely is alive at 340 HP. In the east, you can see this eastern side really just collapsing on Team 2. Multiple attack vectors have been successful here from these just groups of bricks. And, of course, the gunships that came in and really wreaked havoc on Mad Cat's position. Obviously, his nuke is gone. Looks like he built a satellite, and I didn't even see that. He must have just built it or something when it was destroyed. We do see, again, not really that much shielding. Second artillery has been started. Oh, and it has been denied. There are a lot of hives, though, so that will assist the shield quite considerably, but still, one shield, there's a second shield now, needs more shielding. There is not enough shielding in the world that can prevent a nuke landing on top of you and destroying you. So you might as well shield that SMD with as many shields. You might as well shield the SMD with as many shields as possible at that point. Monkey taken offline. Crab still trying to hold back this push from Team 1. Multiple monkeys. There's still a Fat Boy here. Cruiser spam, and we can see the actual range. I was talking about it earlier. Yeah, barely able to at least just eke out some structural damage on Team 2's base, but just barely on this little group of Mad Cat Ravagers. And we do see in the north the air grid properly shielded up. Of course, would like to see even more, but again, against one artillery, not really going to be able to punch through that shielding. Team 2 needs more of it. They have started a second one. We do see a chicken down the middle here from Team 1's Momo Uchiha. And that chicken does look like it might make it to Yoji's comm. Oh, there are some Percies here, so that might be enough damage. And it will be enough damage, but Yoji almost targeted by that chicken. Almost shot. You see, of course, this push still, I mean, it's gaining a little bit of momentum, but it is difficult. There's a lot of Continental transports online. Don't know why there's so many of them. They do have a shield, but I mean, I don't know why they're not gunships. I don't know why they're not something else like that. You can see the shields being rapidly depleted from the flak cannons underneath, and of course the T3AA also underneath. The Continental gunship, Continental transport is a decent unit. It's the only one that has a shield on the transport itself, but I don't think its attack damage is really worth it in that regard. You know, it does have a 3,000 shield and 4,500 hit points. And I think the broadsword has 6,000 hit points in just hull, so I mean, it's a little bit more hit points in that regard, but I mean, it's able to transport a lot of units. But as you can see, again, a transport loses its units if it gets destroyed in flight. So it really doesn't matter, even if you can get more units to the other side of the map or just partway across the map. If the unit dies, there goes all the other units on top of it. Artillery still going after Yoji. It looks like Team 1's just hit, yeah, they're just hit an attack directly on top of Yoji's commander. They want him dead. Another monkey is dead. This monkey will die. This monkey will soon die. Lots of Ravagers spinning up here. And I'm assuming probably one more spin cycle will be enough to deal with that monkey, unless this Fat Boy kills it before they do, but those Ravagers will get it. Drop bombers inbound will go after Yoji's commander, will miss a ton of shots, but there it goes, doesn't matter. The other ones that coming from the rear do grab that commander. It's now a 4v2 in favor of Team 1, and you can see this eastern side collapsing, proving very devastating for Team 2. Everything going to be transferred over to Mad Cat. 44 minutes on the clock here. That artillery for Team 1 still being built, but is still perfectly fine, so the second one is almost completed. I don't see anything else from Team 1 on this eastern side as well from Way She Goes. Not for Way She Goes, but there is a bomber online for Momo. That might just be the last nail in the coffin that they need to kill off most likely this artillery piece that almost has its twin online. It's about to get another friend, but that bomber is inbound. Looks like for Skyfall's position. Skyfall not underneath shield coverage. Gonna just control K the bomber on top of the commander. Actually, the crash damage actually avoids the commander. He will survive. He needed to control K that just a little bit sooner, I think. Definitely wanted to be a kind of a one-unit kill, unfortunately, for Momo. But I do like the attempt. I love to see it. Of course, I think my favorite thing is just watching donuts just crash on top of stuff. It's for some reason very entertaining for me, just watching a giant UFO just slowly land and just blow up half a base because its crash damages. It's been nerfed. Crash damage has been nerfed, but it still does a lot of damage, to be fair. Strap bombers are inbound though, so if the crash damage from that bomber won't be enough, or the bomber itself, or the bomb itself, a couple of strap bombers will definitely be enough. And never mind, the artillery gets him anyways. So Saizon was either going to kill him with strats or kill him with the artillery. Willibus shoots out the GG, so does Saizon. 46 minutes almost on the clock here. Team 2's last remaining player is Mad Cat. He is sitting at more mass generated by one player than anybody else on Team 1, but total, Team 1 is outperforming him 2-1, and almost, I think, 2.25 or 2.5 almost to 1. Actually, almost 2.5 to 1. But we do see the artillery almost online. But again, at this point, with attacks in the west, attacks in the north, artillery down the middle, there's only so much that Team 2 can do. Really stave off, certain death at this point. Either vacate the scene, or control K, or go for a just play that maybe will get a kill. Team 2 doesn't have any sort of telemasers anymore. They don't have anything much at their disposal. Dual artilleries doesn't really help the situation as well for Team 2. I mean, facing dual artilleries. They do have one about to be finished, but don't know if, again, like I said, it's not going to make a difference. Lots of Fat Boys have been spun up, but the beginning of the end already occurred about, I'd say, 5 or 6 minutes ago. Fat Boy pushing in from the east, just kind of snipping at the western defenses. There is a Monkey Lord. It will do some work, but it won't do that much work, especially with some Rambo presets right down the middle. Probably most likely built by Willow. I think some of those were built a long time ago. I do like the fact that it looks like they kind of have like an assault rifle for an arm, and like a futuristic rifle, something from like Alien. For a second, it looked like he was holding it, but it's just his arm. But I do kind of like the idea of kind of a Gundam style where they just pick up a weapon and that's their weapon instead of their arm being their weapon. We do see 2 monkeys being bombarded by a Fat Boy. Fat Boy will... I think it will maybe get one of the monkeys, but if the monkeys are going straight for the Fat Boy is dead. Artillery still landing in on the air grid here for Team 2's Mad Cat. We do see we have some spy planes inbound just to get a final readout of what's going on. He's going to the edge of the map, and I don't know if he's going to control K, but 48 minutes on the clock here. Team 2 in dire straits. They need a miracle or 10 of them at this point. And the artillery now looks like they're going after the satellites being built here by Momo Uchiha. He's dipped into the UEF tech. Another explosion. Looks like it's an SACU. Second one about to go down. It's being bombarded by multiple, actually 5 Fat Boys online for Team 2's Mad Cat. That is a lot of Fat Boys. Some would say possibly critical mass of Fat Boys, but it's on the defensive. Torp bombers are inbound for some reason. We do see some strap bombers inbound, and that's going to be the nail in the coffin for Team 2. Looks like tons of shields. A man after my own heart, just going to build shield after shield after shield after shield to really just try to survive. But you don't know. Even if those bombers don't make it, he is... Well, he's dead anyways. But the artillery would have got him at some point. But that is the game here. 49 minutes, almost on the dot. 3 seconds sooner. Team 1, you couldn't have killed Mad Cat 3 seconds sooner, so that that could have been even 49 minutes. But for this game, in my opinion, I think Team 1's Momo did a very, very good job. Again, was very stubborn on, this is my facility. I want it. It's staying online. He built aircraft carriers. He built a battleship just so he could load a nuke, because why the heck not at that point? He did a very good job of trying to play both a little bit on the east, but primarily down the middle. It focused a lot of Team 2's attention here, at least on this eastern side, and then constantly pushing in with the chickens. The chickens played a huge role. Of course, we did have the attack being utilized by Weishiko's and Saizoan. Once they cleared out this eastern side, sent a decent amount of bricks and gunships, killing off a ton of infrastructure here for Team 2, mainly Mad Cat, but also a little bit here for Yoji. And I think, again, that kind of 1-2 punch on this eastern side really is what propelled Team 1 to victory. And again, Saizoan did a very good job with air. I think everybody did a very good job in general, especially in the later half of the game. Solid Snake was solid in the middle and on the western side, again, slowly pushing in, just trying to be as, well, solid as possible, to use that description multiple times. It's in his name. It's kind of hard not to. But I do think Momo Uchiha gets a little bit boost, just because, again, that central play was very, very crucial. Again, he did get dual base early on, so that did help with his eco situation. But he used it very well. Again, using his faction advantage to get those Othams and the chicken, of course, across the map. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. And as always, please, if you did enjoy this, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see all of you in the next one.